So at the beginning of the semester, I chose prison overcrowding as my complex problem, and I will be wrapping up everything I've learned into this presentation. To start off with the basics, a prison is considered to be overcrowded when the number of inmates exceeds the limit set for that specific area of a facility. If there is only supposed to be 200 inmates maximum in a prison, and instead there is 250, that constitutes overcrowding. This fact can deprive inmates of their basic needs like having enough food or being able to seek medical attention. Obviously, the inmates are most affected by prison overcrowding because this is where they spend all of their time every day, all day long. It's especially important to note that their most important needs might not be met due to overpopulation, which can affect them greatly. On the other hand, prison staff are also affected by this problem. Overcrowding creates a dangerous prisoner to staff ratio. The ratio for a prison below max capacity is about 5 inmates to 1 staff member, which is a lot safer. Overcrowding can also decrease the job satisfaction of staff due to increased levels of stress, which eventually could make the ratio more and more dangerous. So I chose my target audience to be criminal justice majors because they are the fresh eyes and ears of the future. They can definitely have an effect on resolving the issue of prison overcrowding. And then to expand my target audience, I also think current prison staff and police officers should view this presentation and brainstorm more solutions to the problem, since they most likely have a different perspective from working at the prison and with the inmates. And lastly, any other viewer not in the other categories can make a change simply by educating themselves and raising awareness. Starting with the causes of overcrowding, we first have increased crime levels. States often experience surges and declines in crime, but the surges are the problem. The more crimes committed, the more prisoners and less prison space to accommodate them. Another cause is delays in litigation. Most prisoners are awaiting trial, and many factors go into that actually taking place. Issues with evidence, lawyers, judges, and so on can delay trials, which can keep people in prison longer than necessary. Another issue is the overuse of imprisonment. Not every crime should be punished with prison time when fines, rehabilitation programs, and probation exists. These all lead to insufficient prison capacity because there are too many criminals and not enough funds to house them in a bigger and newer facility. Overcrowding causes decreases in physical and mental health statuses. This leads to higher self-harm and suicide rates as well as sickness. Especially during the height of the COVID outbreak, it was difficult for doctors to treat the inmates and difficult to keep other inmates from catching the virus. Another consequence is increased stress levels due to various factors, including the increase in violence and their lack of privacy. And I wanted to choose a specific prison to discuss, but it was very difficult to find information of a specific overcrowded prison. So I decided to choose Alabama's prison system as a whole because it is the most overcrowded in the country, according to the Equal Justice Initiative's website. And it operates at 167.8% of capacity with over 21,000 people in custody. So, according to the appeals website, Alabama's Department of Justice stated that the conditions of confinement were so bad that they violated the Eighth Amendment right to be protected against cruel and unusual punishment. And this is a photo from Alabama's prison. I feel like I keep showing basically the same image throughout this presentation, but it's really to highlight the fact that this isn't normal, but it is common. Prisons usually have everyone in cells with their own space and belongings, not 3 feet away from 10 other inmates. As for solutions, the obvious one is to increase the system capacity, but that is not always the easiest because it is very expensive. Another solution could be to reduce the number of offenders actually admitted into the prison by putting low-level criminals on probation or into rehabilitation programs. even if we just shorten the amount of time some prisoners spent in prison, it would benefit the overcrowding problem. To put things in a different perspective, I decided to include some statistics to show how many people could be affected by overcrowding or other prison-related problems. According to Web Tribunal, there is just slightly over 2.1 million people incarcerated in the US, and 93.5% of those inmates are male. And then almost 15% of prisoners are incarcerated for murder. And lastly, 43.5% of federal prisoners are serving time for drug-related offenses. So in conclusion, prison overcrowding is a very complex problem that can't be solved overnight, but raising awareness to the problem and potential solutions was my goal.